This series, as I call it, The New American Family, this is the latest series I've done. I realized I really have a great subject matter in my own family. Kids are fabulous. They all different colors and different shapes and great visions of faces all over the place. And if you notice the faces, they're only faces. There are no rest of the body, and that's what I'm interested in at this point. And it was a great series to do. My family's great. Most people want to call printmaking just printmaking. I want to be an artist that does prints, that uses prints as a process to make my art. I do large-scale prints, and that's what I'm known for, and that's what I like to do. I generally print 5 by 8 feet or 8.5 feet, and I needed a new material that I could make a plate with and still carry around that was not steel or copper, that was 5 feet by 10 feet. And Sintra came up as a plastic that I could move around. It was lightweight. It took all the marks that you could do with etching, roulettes, dry points in many forms, and developed a whole repertoire of marks from light to dark, and it was a beautiful material, just beautiful stuff. The process is called collograph, and it is the only really non-toxic form of intaglio printing there is. My plate is printed just like an etching would be, but I don't need to use any chemicals on it. I don't have to use any acids, don't have to have special ventilation. It's all washed up with water and prints beautifully. Undergraduate, I did Parsons School of Design. Then I finished my degree up at NYU, and then Brooklyn College was my MFA. In graduate school, I worked in industrial design in the field for a little while. I started off in sculpture because it related to industrial design, which I thought, but I disagreed with the sculpture teacher on aesthetic approach to art. I moved over to printmaking, and it's been great ever since. And I did a lot of collographs because I could do a lot of imagery quickly. Start with a photograph, decide on the scale of the face. I decide where it goes on the plate. I glue the black and white photograph to the plate where they belong. I draw and paint first on the paper, then I run it through the printer. So that way it integrates the painting and drawing more. And what I'm interested in a lot is integrating so that one piece is not more dominant than another piece. The main part of the face is the eyes. I think it's the most expressive thing, and it has to be the clearest for me. The rest of it doesn't have to be so clear. These big photographs that I did with drawing and painting on them, I'm putting acrylic glue on the back so that I can shingle-lay these pieces to the plate. Shingle-lay is gluing other pieces of paper and material to the print as it rolls through the press. And they match up to the plate. And then I print the whole collograph on over it to integrate everything. I was born upstate New York, and as a baby I moved to Brooklyn, left Brooklyn after 25 years. Lived in St. Louis for 42 years. Then I moved to Rhode Island in 2009. I had come here in the summers since 1972. Loved living here. I taught at Queens College for a while, metalsmithing, jewelry making, because that was my initial thing, and then I taught technical drawing. That was before CAD and all that stuff. It was a great job teaching at Queens. I knew I was never going to get a full-time job teaching there, so I left. Moved out to the Midwest, which was a culture shock, to a place called Stout State University, one of the 9 state universities in Wisconsin. And moving from New York to 20 and 30 below zero was not only a culture shock for a town of 8,000, but it was cold, 30 above. It's really cold. Day after day after day. And then I got the job at Washington University, which was a fabulous job. It was great because I could do my art and teach. Fortunately, I got along really well with the printmaking teacher there, so we had the same idea about experimenting and trying new things with prints. I wanted to do experimentation in printmaking. I wanted to compete visually with other forms, and that's one of the reasons I went to upscale. And in probably 71 or 72, I built my first press, 5 foot by 10 foot. It was a big press, really heavy. I built it with the sculpture department, and the steel was all scrap. I mean, just weighed tons. And I also did plate lithography on it in those years when nobody was doing plate lithography on an etching press. And I probably have built about 25 presses in my lifetime. The press I'm using now was built in collaboration with a friend of mine who owns a machine shop in St. Louis. My machining was within 1/4 of an inch. I was good. This is within thousandths of an inch. It prints beautifully. You know, anything that breaks on the press I can fix. So I can put them together, take them apart. If you want to tackle it and do it, you can. If you can think about it, you can do it. It's painting, drawing, printmaking, it's all combined. Photography, I try to do it all. And each one gives me a different set of marks to make my image with. So why limit yourself to one when you can use them all? I think it's a medium that's been unexplored. It has unique marks. It can make beautiful art. Hardly anybody does experimentation with it. It's physically also demanding. Doing large scale, it takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of equipment, takes a lot of space, and it's expensive. I never put meaning in art. I'm not interested in meaning. I'm interested in content, but I'm not interested in meaning. I'm interested in the visual phenomena of making art. Inventing your own process and inventing your own image is, to me, experimentation. You need the notion of trying to do new things and not doing it the same way other people have done it for many years. It's also about giving yourself permission to try new things. If you don't give yourself permission to try things, you're going to keep doing the repeats and it gets boring. And that's why I change imagery all the time. And I think it's really important to invent a process that determines your marks and an image that other people haven't explored before. And that's, there are places where you can explore that are very small in between places that other people have explored. And I'm really interested in that and trying to pick those places out. I'm interested in I don't want my work to look like other people's work, if I can help it. One of the biggest insults I can have is that, well, your work looks like, and I go, oh, no, that's one thing I don't want things to do. Unfortunately, in pretty much my work, most people have not said that to me.